Tonight, industrial tension at RBC. The Chief Medical Officer cautions that one dose of the COVID-19 vaccine is not full coverage and people need to be guided accordingly. And an anonymous group erects a sign at Pigeon Island in a campaign against the late Admiral Rodney. The details of these stories and more are coming up.
This is the Hot 7 Nightly News with Lovelace and Amy Joseph.
Good night. It is Wednesday, the 17th of March, 2021. Welcome to the Hot 7 TV Nightly News. A special hello to all of our viewers via our free-to-air digital antenna. We know we are your only source for television, and we thank you for the great feedback. I'm lovely Saint Amy Joseph. It is reportedly a very tense industrial climate at RBC branches as staff concerns are mounting. Our sources tell us that staff staged a sick-out that affected operations. The bargaining agent for the staff at RBC, the National Workers Union, NWU, declined to comment on the matter, but we are aware that the union and staff have been seeking answers for months about what the future holds. Weeks ago, the governor of the Eastern Caribbean Central Bank, ECCB, Timothy Antoine, confirmed that the organization will be approving the sale of Royal Bank of Canada RBC operations in several territories in the Eastern Caribbean. The sale includes operations in St. Lucia, Antigua and Barbuda, the Commonwealth of Dominica, Grenada, Montserrat, St. Kitts and Nevis, and St. Vincent and the Grenadines. The RBC assets will be sold to a consortium of indigenous banks within the Eastern Caribbean Currency Union (ECCU) jurisdiction, namely the First National Bank of St. Lucia, Antigua Commercial Bank, National Bank of Dominica, Bank of Montserrat, and Bank of Nevis. In other news, the Ministry of Health and Wellness is reminding the public to maintain the public health measures which have been implemented even after receiving the first dose of their COVID-19 vaccines. The Chief Medical Officer explains that one dose of the vaccine does not offer full coverage. Nisha Charles tells us more in this report.
The Ministry of Health and Wellness began its national vaccination campaign on February 17th. With the rollout of the AstraZeneca COVID-19 vaccine. As of March 15, 2021, over 19,000 people have received their first dose of this vaccine. While the Ministry of Health and Wellness is encouraged by the interest shown so far, it is reminding citizens of best practices at this time.
According to the interim recommendations by WHO, this vaccine has an efficacy of 70.4% against symptomatic SARS-CoV-2 infection. This is after both doses are received. The vaccine prevents the complicated form of the disease, hospitalizations, and deaths from COVID-19 in 100% of people who received both doses. As such, everyone is reminded of the need to continue adhering to the COVID-19 public health protocols and infection prevention and control measures that have proven to reduce COVID-19 virus transmission. This will keep us safe after receiving the first dose of the vaccine while the ministry ramps up the vaccination program.
Currently, travelers coming into St. Lucia, whether vaccinated or not, must continue the public health measures, including presenting a negative PCR test done within 5 days and 14 days of quarantine upon arrival.
St. Lucia has not yet achieved herd immunity, so we remain susceptible to getting the virus. The level of transmission from persons who may be fully immunized is not yet established. It is well documented that the COVID-19 vaccine protects the person who has received it from becoming ill, but their capacity to transmit is not yet determined. The Ministry of Health and Wellness advises the public to remain vigilant and encourage their family and loved ones to receive the COVID-19 vaccine.
The vaccine is provided on a voluntary basis and free of charge to the public. For the Hot 7 News, Nisha Charles reporting.
Thank you, Nisha. As parts of Europe are already experiencing a third wave of COVID-19 with a number of new variants to boot, Prime Minister Alan Shastney says that the best way to brace for the wave's inevitable arrival in the Caribbean is to ensure that the masses get vaccinated. The Prime Minister says St. Lucians should stick to the protocols and the wave will have little effect on the nation. Rochelle Gonzalez reports.
Reports are coming in rapidly of a number of countries, including Canada and France, that are now grappling with a third wave of COVID-19. On Tuesday, France reported nearly 30,000 new cases, a 4.5% spike, and the highest jump in a month and a half. With St. Lucia now recording a total of 55 deaths, the highest number of deaths in the entire OECS collectively, as well as over 4,000 positive cases, Hot 7 TV asked Prime Minister Alan Chastanet if the island is ready for the impact of this new third wave. The PM stated that the recent vaccination drive is sure to play a major role in slowing down the effects when the wave hits.
We are seeing a third wave in some countries. So a couple of things. One, the best solution is getting vaccinated. That's something that really helps in terms of protecting all of us. There's this concept of what they call herd immunity. I don't know what that number is. You know, some countries say it's as much as 70%. I don't think there's any science to prove that. I think that's the best guesstimate at this point. But I think that as many people that can become vaccinated as possible, that's certainly the most secure to prevent any kind of repeat of what we've seen, particularly over the Christmas period.
One issue currently raising concerns is the continuous evolution of the virus, which has spawned a number of new variants, some of which could possibly render the Oxford-AstraZeneca vaccine ineffective. Prime Minister Chastanet addressed this concern, stating that he has faith that science will pave a way to solve this issue as well.
I think that history has shown that of all these viruses, there will always be variants. And the worst case scenario is that there will be a booster. So if in fact the vaccines currently that are available are not able to fight a particular variant, we now have a lot of confidence in science and that they will produce a booster to be able to assist us. So first of all, we have to be assured that there is a Caribbean variant. We then have to understand whether in fact the current vaccines work against them or not. And then once that is proven, then we'll take the proper remedies.
The PM stated that adherence to the set protocols is a surefire way to keep the virus at bay.
We cannot dismiss the importance of the protocols. And the moment that any one of us lets down our guard, then it causes a further outbreak. So it's sadly our own behavior. And again, I'm not pinpointing anybody, I'm just saying in general, our own behavior that puts us at the greatest amount of risk. Wear your face mask, practice social distancing, and hand sanitize.
Globally, COVID-19 has claimed over 2.67 million lives, and this number is rapidly rising by the day. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
A sign which pays homage to self-liberated slaves, otherwise known as the Negro, has been mounted near the entrance of Pigeon Island with the title, "Welcome to Revolution Bay." This sign may come as a response to the recent discoveries that Admiral Rodney, who the bay is named after, was instrumental in the fight against abolition of slavery in St. Lucia, and petitioned to pack slave ships with as many slaves as possible. Whilst the St. Lucia National Trust says it is not responsible for the sign, one representative says the individuals responsible for the sign should take their fight higher up to gain more traction.
Under normal circumstances, I would be saying welcome to the Pigeon Island Causeway in Grosselet. However, an anonymous group is fighting hard to have this changed by erecting this sign, which tells the story of a group of self-liberated African slaves who, after freeing themselves from their European captors, renamed the entire community of Grosselet to La Révolution. While St. Lucia carries the history of being 7 times British, 7 times French, most St. Lucians are unaware of the Black Revolution that took place on the island, where the Neg-Maron overthrew their oppressors and took control of the country. This sign comes as a response to the recent discoveries that Admiral Rodney, who the bay is named after, was instrumental in the fight against abolition in St. Lucia and petitioned to pack slave ships with as many slaves as possible. We spoke to one member of the National Trust, Janine Compton-Antoine, who stated that whilst she understands the history behind the sign, she believes that the right avenue should be taken to get the message across.
The Trust doesn't really know anything about the sign. I mean, the staff were greeted with the sign this morning. But I would just say to whoever has put up the sign, I do hope that they've been liaising with the government and the relevant authorities, the Grosley Town Council and the NCA, to ensure that, that it is in keeping with the rules and regulations to put up signage. And I would also tell them that, maybe they should actually liaise with the government and the cultural organizations to see how they could go about promoting the history of St. Lucia in a creative and original manner, so that it's not only in book form, but it is also in a way that is accessible to St. Lucians and visitors alike. So I would, as I said, I don't know who the person is, but I would tell them, come out of the woodwork and speak to the government, speak to the Grosley Town Council, and see how they could promote other interesting historical aspects of the country in a creative way.
It is only a matter of time before the sign is taken down. After all, it was mounted illegally. However, according to reports, the hope is that the message will be spread far and wide before this happens. Reporting for Hot 7 News, I am Rochelle Gonzalez.
Stay with us. Still to come, the Prime Minister details the estimates of revenue and expenditure, saying it will be a challenging fiscal year. The opposition accuses government of wastage and unrealistic estimates. And 9 people are injured in a bus accident at Jacknam.